Hi, this is Jeremy Kellett, Director of Recruiting here at Oakley Trucking, and I'm your host for this podcast. This is episode 111. So on today's podcast, I'm joined with some guys from operations and dispatch, and we're going to talk a lot of different things to give you some insight on what takes place up in this building. You know, I call it the brains of Oakley Trucking up in here, and we're going to talk to three of the head brains up in here and give you a good idea of like the freight outlook, maybe even touch on the freight surcharge that's going on right now, what customers are wanting and what they're seeing, and talk about customer service and driver responsibilities that are expected out of you guys too. So we've got a little bit of everything coming up. But first, before we get right to that, let's hear from Aero Truck Sales, our sponsor. Keith Wilson at Aero Truck Sales in Springfield, Missouri is currently offering $1,000 off your first month's payment when you finance with transport funding, or $1,000 off the truck price if you bring your own financing. They're also discounting the cost of an extended warranty by $500. Aero Truck Sales has been a long-time partner with Oakley Trucking, and that's because they specialize in first-time truck buyers. They don't do any leases. They have the best used trucks money can buy because used trucks is all they do. They don't sell any new trucks. And the biggest reason that Aero and Oakley are partners is service after the sale. It is very important to us at Oakley that when we refer you to a company, that they are a good company with good people. They do what they say, and they understand our requirements. So give Keith a call at 573-216-6047 for a good used truck, and tell him you heard about it on the Oakley Podcast. Okay, one note before we crank off with you guys is we did today's May the 20th. This is Friday, so this episode is actually going to come out next Wednesday, and so this is all fresh stuff just for y'all, so y'all know out there. But one thing that we did, and we've had some phone calls on, Corey sent out a email about EFS and getting a notification when the driver fuels. So and we've had, this is the simple part of it. We had fraud. We had a few episodes back about EFS fraud. So we've gotten with EFS and gotten with our IT department. And so when you use that card, you're going to get a text notification saying that you just used that card. And if you get a notification and you didn't use the card, you need to be making a phone call up here to your dispatcher or to Corey, because that means somebody just got fuel using your information. So you fuel, you should get a notification. If you get a notification and you did not fuel,
pick up the phone
and let's shut the card off. So simple as that. We think that'll help us a whole lot take care of some of this EFS fraud. So I've got Bradley Simpson, Jason Webb, and Russell Vallance in here with me today, and pulled them away from the desk, and we're going to talk a little bit about operations and what's going on here. And how you guys doing today?
Good. Doing good.
Everybody just thrilled to be up here and doing a podcast with me, aren't you?
You get a little break from the action there.
Actually, all you guys have already been in here once, at least once.
Yes. Yeah.
I know Bradley, we did one with, maybe who'd we do one with? A dispatch?
Me and Hunter, and then me and I think Scotty and Jason.
Oh, you got a two-timer.
Yeah.
Russell's a one or two?
2 or 3 times.
And Webb, they can't even count them anymore.
Yeah, I've been 3 or 4, I think.
All right, so good. You guys know what's
Steadily
going on
better.
there. You know what's going on. Well, I appreciate y'all doing it, and I want to take this opportunity because they get all y'all together and let's give our drivers an idea of what's going on at Oakley Trucking and what customers are talking about, what we need drivers to hear, what's, just things that are important right now. And this is pretty fresh, so we're doing this on Friday and it comes out next Wednesday, so it'll be some good information. The first thing I was thinking is this freight surcharge. I get asked a lot about it, and it's a month-to-month deal that we're doing, 20 cents a mile on all miles, and we started that back, I forgot when we actually started it, not a few months, 6 months ago maybe.
January.
That's 6 months ago probably. Anyway, it's that was the purpose of freight being so good, but we know it's not going to last. So
right.
Hopefully it will, and we'll never have to take it back. But what y'all's input on the freight surcharge, Webb?
Well, first of all, we've said this before, it starts and ends with the owner-operator here. So the reason for the freight surcharge is the great job the guys are doing out on the road every day. and doing a job where we can go get that extra money that we can, pass along to the guys, and that's what we're, and so how long is it going to go? I hope it goes for about another 25, 30 years.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice?
But, in all reality, things, kind of ebb and flow, and it's going to come back a little bit. So we don't have the answer. One thing I would say to the guy is, make hay right now while the sun's shining. Yep. If you've got, and everybody's got stuff to do on the weekend, and we understand that, but, if you've got a weekend where you can work and haul an extra load or work, a Saturday or come out on a Sunday, and make that extra money, well, now's the time because it's definitely there.
Well, and it's a lot of it's just from the abundance of freight and customer demand, right?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Are we still seeing high demand?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So Bradley's a pneumatic division, Russell's hopper division, and Jason is the end dump division. So what's the demand like, Bradley, in the pneumatics?
Hard to explain, really, unless
it?
you sit there and get to see it every day. But it's there is no stopping it. It's unreal. It's from the time we walk in to the time I go to sleep, and even when I'm asleep, I wake up and see stuff. Just people, just begging for trucks anywhere and everywhere, and that's stuff from people I've never talked to and people I talk to every single day since I've worked here. So
a lot of new customers.
Yeah, there's all kinds of new requests that come in all the time. Even that these guys talk to, asking me and Randy and the guys in pneumatics if we can help out. And it's been overwhelming. It's a lot. There's so much that we can do, and that kind of goes back to that freight surcharge. I mean, helping pay these drivers and get them more money so we can get more drivers and help some of these people out.
Pick up some of these loads that are thrown out there at you. Same thing in hoppers, Russell?
Same thing. We see a lot of our regular customers also want more than they normally would get, probably in a lot of cases double what they normally get on a daily or weekly basis. And it puts a lot of pressure on us and the drivers, and we just need more of them and more guys working weekends because there's a lot of weekend work right now to do. And it's just a good time to take advantage of it. Like Jason said, make hay while the sun's shining, because, one day it'll slow down at some point, but, hopefully not anytime soon.
Yeah. I hope that's a long ways ahead of us, because it's nice being able to do this, and it's frustrating a little bit too, but having the freight that's a big part of the equation.
Oh, yeah. I know on the end dump side, we turn down a lot more work than we take right now, from people that we want to be working for, and people that we have worked for in the past. And, we're in a situation right now where, you don't want to promise something that you can't deliver on. And, we talk about, recruiting cards, and, we offer that recruiting program. And this is why, because we could run, I know in the end dumps, I could say the same thing for the pneumatics and hoppers. I'm not involved in that every day. In the end dumps, we could run 100 more trucks right now today.
No kidding.
And, and probably still, be turning stuff away. I mean, that's kind of the
pneumatics
situation
and hoppers?
Same. I think 100 easily.
You're
just
kidding.
in our division. I'm sure Bradley would say 100 plus.
Yeah, it's the same way for us. It's just unreal. It's so many people offering dedicated stuff and that's what owner-operators want, is dedicated stuff, and we just can't handle it just because we have the everyday stuff that we do.
Yeah, it's a great problem to have, to have that much business, and just, I guess, so drivers understand our frustration. It's like Jason said, you get that opportunity where, man, you've been wanting to haul for these customers, you'd like to take on more of that business, but you can't. You just can't do it because you don't have the trucks to do it. Which, I mean, hey, it's it's a little frustrating, but it's part of it. It's what we do. Are these so freight's looking good? Is any particular areas where freight is more abundant than other? Start with you, Bradley, in pneumatics.
Louisiana, that's a huge one for us. Houston area up here in Arkansas is pretty big. Georgia, that's a good one.
Is that where a lot of the freight's coming out of those places going to all over?
Yeah, coming out, going anywhere and everywhere. There's, short local runs, and there's stuff that goes cross country or halfway across. But those are hot spots for freight coming out. Around here, we have all kinds of opportunities for local runs, working for our fertilizer division, doing salt and fertilizer and
really
all kinds of stuff.
What about hoppers, Russell?
It's kind of week to week with the demands, to be honest with you. But, asking me today, out of North Carolina, it's pretty much wide open right now, going to Georgia, Florida, a few places in Georgia, actually.
That slowed down just a little bit, didn't it? A couple weeks ago?
It turned back on. It's turned back on, and we got stuff coming out of here going to Georgia, coming back over to Arkansas and Texas. And
so anywhere from Oklahoma to North Carolina, you could?
Yeah, from Dallas to Oklahoma City, and everything back east is wide open.
That, we've gained some trucks out of North Carolina.
Yes, we have.
Over the last year. Is that still looking promising, you think, out there?
Oh, yeah.
Looks to be.
Yeah.
I think a lot of
That's a dump area, too, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we run a lot of dumps out of North Carolina, South Carolina, all the way up the East Coast. I was sitting there thinking while these guys were talking, where the specific needs were for in dumps. And I've run out of room to ride here because, it's, I've got Louisiana, St. Louis, Wisconsin, North Carolina, Alabama, Oklahoma.
That's just all over.
Yeah, I know. I heard Jason yell one day that they had 31 loads the next day that they were trying to cover out of Alabama alone. So,
yeah,
I know that's probably a good one for them.
Yeah, so it's all over the place, and it's there's a lot of opportunity there. You can put stuff together and not necessarily have like a dedicated thing, but kind of have a circle we can kind of come up with where a guy could load something out for one customer, load something back for another customer. We just gotta have the trucks. That's kind of what it all circles back to is, we've got to have the trucks to haul the loads. Me and Bradley and Russell can't go haul any loads, unfortunately.
Well, and you guys have done a great job over the years to recognize the semi-dedicated or dedicated stuff that's come up, and you've gotten guys to be able to do that. And that, to be honest with you, that helped save us through a lot of this pandemic. Is you guys getting creative and getting people on a lot of the same stuff and creating some of those dedicated runs. That's just where it is these days. Unfortunately, that's part of it. Those days of 2 weeks out and I don't know where you're going to be tomorrow and I ain't got a load yet. Those are gone. So
Right.
It used to be like that a long time ago, but it's not anymore. And so we're having to adjust too, and y'all are doing a good job about doing that, and that's helped a whole lot. But so, all these points that we've named of where we need trucks and good places for them to live, well, comes with that, is, we got these drivers, these owner-operators have got responsibilities too that we expect. And that, this is a dry bulk business, and we got to take care of our customers. What's some of the responsibilities you guys would think off, top of your head that or somebody listening wanting to come over or our current owner-operators need to know about on meeting, their responsibilities?
I would say, it's pretty standard for all of us in here, but especially on the pneumatic side, we go into a lot of gas refineries like Exxon's, and you name any gas station you see, that it's pretty clean-cut deal. Got to be clean-shaven. They don't necessarily have a dress code, but you do have a lot of PP&E standards that you have to meet with the Nomex coveralls, the steel-toe boots, the glasses, the hard hats, and all that stuff that you would expect. And just being presentable, we kind of joke around in here and say sometimes that you wear your beach clothes to the beach, but whenever you come to work for us, we want you to look professional, and that's part of the responsibility of going to 90% of these places that we go to.
Yeah, that's a lot of the same here, and I guess a big responsibility our guys have is on the roofing granule side, that with a lot of our customers and on the loading and the unloading end, we have to be on time. We got load appointments, unload appointments, and being on time is really important. It's a difference of, maybe shutting a customer down if we're not on time, if they're running thin on a particular color of roofing granules. And then if you are going to be late, obviously things happen, traffic, wrecks, weather. We just need a phone call so we can let that customer know, hey, we're going to be an hour or two late here, or 3 or 4 hours late, whatever it might be.
They give us appointment times and expect us to
yeah, it's kind of crazy. Yeah.
Well, I say that because, it's a lot of the drivers can get used to that appointment times where they go to one place and it's not so important.
Right.
And then they go to another place and it's very, very important. Each customer is a little bit different, I think, and we have to just do what we're told. I mean,
right.
whether it's you get there and there's 4 trucks ahead of you, it don't matter. They told us to be there at this certain time. That's what we got to do, and then we figure it out from there. That's what we got to make.
They're paying us to do the job and be there when they want it there.
When they want it there. That's exactly right. That's called customer service
right.
that we're giving them.
Well, for and this is for all 3 divisions. The customer service starts when the guy gets his dispatch, and we talk about cleaning the trailer. Thank you. The guys have got to clean the trailers out. Whether you're in an end dump or pulling a hopper or pulling a pneumatic tank. I mean, it's nobody wants a contaminated load. I think you poll most customers, they just assume not have a load as to have a contaminated one. So that's where it starts. And then we talked about being on time, appointment times. The main deal is communicating with your dispatcher because something's going to happen, a flat tire or traffic, and it's okay. It's not, everybody in the working world understands that things happen. What people want is for them to call you because what we don't see and what, the owner operator or us here in the office is somebody on the other end is planning out their day and their schedule and whatever they're doing throughout the day based a lot of times on when we're going to show up. And so if that changes, it helps them, it helps the owner operator to communicate that so everybody can make another plan. And it helps us help the guy with his next load because you may be, and you may not even know it, but you may have 2 or 3 loads planned on you after this load you got right now. And you being a couple hours behind for whatever reason may affect that. And so the sooner we know that, the sooner we can regroup and, do something else to take care of you and take care of whatever we've got on our plate to take care of that day.
So you mean to tell me that this happens?
Every day of the week.
Every hour of every day.
That drivers don't communicate with us, or we're late for a load, or something to that effect. Is that a daily deal?
Yeah, we have a check-in time for everyone from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. that, that's kind of our livelihood for everything, for planning purposes for the driver, and then for also getting ETAs for these customers when they call in wanting to know, hey, I've got to have this, when's it going to be here? And if you've already had that conversation with the driver in the morning, then you can just spit it right out, and they know when they're getting their load.
Okay, what's your before you answer this, what's y'all's biggest, I wouldn't say problem, biggest issue when you come in every day? What typically do you have to handle? First, let's take a break and listen from Lube Zone, our sponsor. So I want to take a minute and talk about Lube Zone. Lube Zone has been a sponsor of the Oakley Podcast for a long time. They're good people over there. Jeff and Megan do a great job. They provide good discounts for Oakley owner-operators, but also just a great place to go. They've got 11 locations, Texas, California, Oklahoma, Georgia. They're primarily along major highway exits, which allows easy access. They can do a lot of stuff there. They got full service oil changes. They got tractor and trailer grease, air filters, oil analysis, tire checks, DOT inspections. I mean, these guys can do it all, and we love doing business with them. I actually had one of our owner operators he went to Lube Zone. He said, hey, I'm going in here and I'm going to find out how their service is, if they're fast, and if I get a discount. And I said, all right, you let me know when you get out of there. So he called me back and he said, I just want you to know that's a great place to go. It's clean. It's nice. The service was great. He got the full-fledged filters, oil change, the whole 9-yard service. And he also got his $40 discount. And you got to tell them you heard it on the Oakley Podcast, that you are with Oakley Trucking, and they will give you a discount. And just great service from those guys. We appreciate them being a sponsor of the Oakley Podcast. And if you're in one of those areas, you look and you go to loopzone.com and you see where their locations are. And if you're close by there, go try them out and let me know how your service was, because we'll give the feedback back to Lube Zone. And check out the rewards program. That's really good too. Just be sure and check them out and let them know you heard it on the Oakley Podcast. So when y'all come in the morning, what's something that you got to take care of every day that's kind of, putting it all together. But I really don't know how to ask that question. But what's one of your main responsibilities when you roll in, and some of the issues you see every day that you wished could be fixed easily?
On the end dump side, I'm sure it goes with these guys as well. Especially on Monday mornings, we've seen this a lot lately. We spend a lot of time Monday morning sorting out what's going on between Friday afternoon and Monday morning. And some of it we know about, and that's, takes some work to take care of. But the other deal is sometimes stuff goes on over the weekend and a guy is delayed and we don't get a phone call, and that just sets off a chain of events that lasts anywhere from an hour to the rest of the day on, taking care of some load, swapping, and missing this one load affects 3 or 4 loads, 2 or 3 states over, and it affects other owner operators. Well, now I've got to change my plan and go cover this load, and there's always going to be some of that, but the communication, especially when stuff doesn't go like we have planned. We leave out here Friday afternoon and we got a pretty good plan on what's going on. When something goes sideways for whatever reason, to change that plan, we've got to do better as a fleet of owner operators and as a company communicating that as it happens, and not finding out later in the day on Monday. Am I right?
Yeah, mm-hmm. I agree. That's every day, but it's even more so on Monday because you got more days involved. But the thing we do on the hoppers is we got a lot of morning time load times. Especially here in Little Rock, from say starting at 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock, and we've already got all those planned out. And you roll into work, and guys start checking in, and you realize, hey, he's got an 8 a.m. appointment. Here it is, 7 o'clock, and he's 5 hours away. So without any phone call, we didn't have an opportunity to make that right. So it shortens our window to get a guy there on time. And then it's a domino effect. Once you change one guy, and then you just keep changing, and it's just change after change. And, we end up either missing or showing up late.
What about you, Bradley? What about things when you come in on a daily basis that you got to piece together?
Yeah, definitely the same. Some of the non-communication that happens at night or over the weekends, it's always a lot easier if you speak to that customer on a Saturday and Sunday and be like, look, we got a problem. They understand that a lot more than them showing up to work Monday and then them calling you, and they're pretty upset, and it makes me and I know everybody else in here feel pretty bad to not be the first one to tell them. So yeah, communication's a big deal on that, for sure.
Man, how long have we been preaching communication?
At least 17 and a half years.
Since the day I started, I know.
Well, and here's the deal. Here's a little confessional here. Sometimes stuff goes sideways because we made a bad plan in the office.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I guess the main message that we want to get out is nobody's going to get in trouble for calling in and telling us about a problem, or calling on the weekend. for whatever reason, whatever has happened has happened. We just need to know, and we're going to be thankful, because now we can do something about it. If we didn't know the day before or 2 days before, we've got some options right there. We can change some stuff up. But now if we know, we don't find out till after the fact, well, there's not a whole lot we can do.
So give me an example, one of Bradley, or how's a planning? He said part of it could be our planning. So do you know when you leave that could be a risky plan? You have any of those?
Oh yeah, you usually always know when you're putting that guy on that load. You think, oh man, this could be a tight one. If anything happens, it's not going to be good. And I think that's where we need to take the step to maybe go ahead and do our part on communicating and communicate to that customer and say, look, we're doing the best we can, but this is what we got. This is what we got coming at you, and it kind of prevents any huge blow-ups on the other end, because they can maybe prepare for it and run differently.
And I think communicating to that driver that, hey, this is going to be tight.
Yeah.
It not because I can see, if I'm them, I'm waking up, it's just another load
Mm-hmm.
I got to do. I got to do my daily routine. I got to do another load. I got to get it there, of course. But, also if maybe they know a little bit more of, hey, this customer's running low on material, or they got a tight window, or it's a little more emphasis
Mm-hmm.
on that load might register. I'm just saying, a lot of that, because I'm sure we don't do that in certain cases. It's just that we're all at fault, because I've said this before over the years, that when we get a failure at a customer, they don't think Bradley Simpson failed them, Russell Vallance failed them. They don't think the driver failed them. They think Oakley failed them as a whole. Oakley screwed this load up.
Yeah.
They don't call it by name. They just, it's Oakley, and that's all of us. So that can be a little frustrating. We all play a part in it.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We just got to figure out how that us and the owner operator, are in sync and communicating well.
You bet.
What about hauling the weight? That's always, when you're a dry bulk company like we are, and we encourage people to get close to 80,000 pounds as they can get and still be legal. That's a challenge, isn't it? What about on hoppers, Russell?
Yeah, it is. And, we pay, on the hopper side, we actually pay a little different based on the weight that's hauled. So it's the owner-operator's advantage to get every pound he can on as well, because he can make more per mile. But, being up there close to that 80,000 pound mark makes a lot of difference. It's everything. Sometimes it's hard to do, because you go to a customer and there's 15 trucks in line, and they may make you go to the back of the line, and you got to hit it right on the first time. But the guys that are showing up with 77,000 pounds gross weight, 78, we can do better than that, in most cases. And back to the communication side, we want that communication beforehand versus after the load's already been hauled. We can't do anything about it, but if you call us while you're sitting at the loading facility, then there's a chance we can have them put an extra ton or two on there if we need to, and we all make more money.
How does it affect the pneumatics much?
I would say not so much as the other divisions, but it can. There's, I want to say a majority of our stuff is, it's special blends, and, they send it to labs, so it's usually only a certain amount of weight, and there's really nothing that you can do about it. And that kind of makes it hard on the loads that we do want to gross out and get more weight on, because owner-operators get so used to certain amounts at certain places.
They don't know which ones are important.
Yeah, so it's up to us to let you know, hey, this is one you need to get a little bit more on. And
I can just imagine a customer getting a bid from us and getting a bid from competition, and the competition has small sleeper, company trucks, and they haul 50,000 pounds on a pneumatic, and then our guys, we're not going to haul that much.
Right. Yeah, we used to hear that all the time. It's not as much as it used to be, but that used to be a pretty big deal. These people they can haul 50,000 pounds, and we can't hit that mark. So it's a challenge sometimes, but if we let everybody know up front, it usually pans out pretty good.
Yeah, because certain loads, that are that material's already getting on this one, and the driver needs to know that. Mm-hmm. So he's not working his tail off to get more on.
Oh yeah, and sometimes in some cases, on the shorter percentage stuff, the more weight you get, the more money you make. So
gotcha.
That always seems to make it easier to get a little bit more, but there's some challenges with it because they have to go out back, hook up their hoses, pressure the tank, blow it off, and then they may blow too much off.
Yeah.
And then they're really in trouble. They got to go back and load more. So it's just something, I guess, comes with knowing how to do it, but it is a challenge.
Yeah. I know dumps are real important.
Oh yeah. Probably the vast majority of the stuff we do pays by the ton, and one thing guys don't see is sometimes when we're setting up freight and setting up the billing terms and everything with customers, we charge them so much per ton, and then we'll put a minimum, a 23 ton minimum, because we're figuring that number based off our guy getting 23 tons. So it's kind of a tough conversation when the customer calls and they say, I'm looking at all these bill of ladings and they're all 78,000, 78,500, and I'm getting charged for a minimum, and it looks like right here you guys could haul a lot more weight than you're hauling. Mm. And that doesn't happen much, but it has happened. But yeah, it is important. We want to do a good job for the people. And a long time ago, we used to have a deal where guys called in their weights every load. We've kind of gotten away from that. But the expectation is 80,000 pounds. And we understand there's going to be times that doesn't happen. We haul some turnings and Zorba, this type of metal, different things where you're just not going to get that
much
weight.
Stuff.
It's just light stuff. And we understand that, but we're hauling a load of roofing granules, we're hauling a load of fertilizer, some shredded metal. We really would need everybody to get the weight on. It helps our customers and makes us, look good for them, and it's just what we ask. That's how we pass along this freight surcharge is, getting the money in the door, and part of that is hauling the weight.
It adds up. You figure 1,000 pounds a truck, and we got 760 owner-operators, and everybody does at least, I mean, you ain't got them all working at the same time, but you do a load, I mean, that adds up to a whole lot.
Pretty big number.
Pretty big number, but it's I'm like you, it's more about taking care of that customer than it is anything, getting them. If we can get more than the competition does, it might get noticed. Plus, I've always said this, because this was back in my dispatch days, is I was wanting them to get the weight on because, of course, back then I didn't have any loads on the weekend, but it would help me deadhead them to a load. If they got on the weight all week, then I'd make a little bit more money on them, because we used to come in on Friday and we was like, how much money you got made on this guy? Bradley, you probably remember those days. How much money you got on this guy? Well, we'd have an amount of money because we knew we was fixing to have to deadhead him to keep him busy a long ways, because back then everybody wanted to work all the time, every weekend, and you were trying to figure out how much money could I spend to get him to another load, So and I encouraged them, man, if you get the weight on it, it helps me. It helps being able to do something with you when that time rolls around. But now it sounds like we got plenty of work. So
yeah,
and that's good. That's a good problem to have. Anything else you guys want to add? What did we not cover?
Well, we're still on the end dumps. We're still looking for some guys to work down in Louisiana. Our Oxbow, we pretty well got that where we want it, I think. We're working for a customer called Rain Carbon down in Louisiana, down right around the reserve terminal. Dylan and Caleb are down there. We're looking for a few more guys to come down there and haul coke, pulling hoppers primarily, and some end dumps too. Hauling from Norco, Louisiana to Chalmette, Louisiana, and Norco, Louisiana to Gramercy. So yeah, anybody out there has a.
So there's a couple openings on
yeah, you bet
on that, and then they're also the reserve terminal. They're dispatching a few regional trucks.
Yeah, we've started putting some guys on there, trying to branch out and get those guys accustomed to dispatching trucks over the road. So they've got 5 or 6 guys right now. We're looking to add on there. So we just need all hands on deck.
I like it. Hopper's looking good.
We could use a lot more trucks too. Obviously, we've talked about that already. But you turn in a recruiting card, you get paid for that. Just turn in the card, and then you get paid $5,000 once they're actually hired on and stay here. So, it's a money-making opportunity for everybody.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Recruiting here is pretty regular from you guys. We are in earshot of all these guys, and it's need trucks, and trust me, we're trying. We just, we're not going to lower our standards, but we're trying to get all we can too, and some good guys over here because
the guys that we have that we're asking to turn in the recruiting cards, they know what we're looking for. The guys have been around here, and you guys know who we're looking for and what it takes to be successful. And if you know a guy, shoot him our way. We'd love to talk to him.
And I, on that lines real quick, Louisiana, I appreciate those guys going down there and doing it that are not used to doing it, because you threw a lot of over the road guys in there to help out for the weekend. Hoppers did too, and that helped us get through a rough spot, didn't it?
Yeah, it really did. We've kind of got one of the jobs kind of where we want it, and things are going a lot smoother now. And that's due to a lot of guys chipping in and helping out. When they probably wanted to do something else. So we understand that, and I sure appreciate it. I know everybody does. So, but that's we could probably do a 10-show, mini-series on guys taking care of us. We could be here all night. So, but yeah, we do appreciate it.
All right, guys. I think that's covered everything I wanted to cover. Y'all got anything else? You good? Hoppers, pneumatics, all good?
All good.
What y'all doing this weekend?
I'm going to
you take care of kids, ain't you?
I'm actually kid-free
this weekend.
Tonight. I'm going to Georgia tomorrow to a concert.
Golly, you pulled that one off.
Yeah, I don't know how.
Bradley's got, you got 5?
4.
4 kids and a set of twins.
I think we'll be watching some basketball inside a gym somewhere.
Yeah, you boys playing ball. Oh, Manuel's getting married.
Yeah, I'm going to El Dorado. Manuel Carball, one of our end-up dispatchers, is taking the plunge, getting married tomorrow.
Congratulations,
so, and I think there's a few of his guys he works with going to be there too. So I'm really
are they?
forward
That's
that.
awesome.
So yeah, I'm taking the whole family. I told Manuel if he's buying dinner, I'm taking my whole family and getting.
Yeah, and you got what, 3?
I got 3 kids. Yeah, and they're probably going to be listening to this. So Lamar, Kenny, and Lynn. Love you.
Shout out.
Yeah.
That's great. All right. Well, I appreciate the input you guys give us and the insight to our truck drivers, because, hey, that's what this podcast was created for, was to make a connection, communication, like we talked about earlier, between the company and our drivers, our owner-operators, because the better communication we have, I think the more information we can give them, and we're on the same page. It just how's it going to hurt? It's going to help. So that's what we're trying to do with this podcast, and I appreciate y'all doing it. Every so often we always get a operations update from you. So anytime y'all got anything too, you can just come on up and we'll record it. You get something on your mouth. All right. I appreciate everybody listening to the Oakley Podcast. Once again, it comes out every Wednesday. We send a new one to you. If you know some people that need to hear it, man, send it to them. Encourage them to get on YouTube and watch us. Oh, you definitely want to watch this episode with these guys in here. We want to check it out. And thanks to Miles for helping us in the production of it and setting it all up. So once again, check out the Oakley Podcast, and we appreciate everybody and all the input you give us every week. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks.